Fair use. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing.
Before we start the video, make sure to subscribe to my channel. I appreciate all the support I received from you. And as always, all the information in my videos is rumors taken from the internet or the street. I'm not saying the information is fact.
Pick your mans up.
And just because people used to come through shooting us every day. And this block, words can't even explain. Can't even explain.
Yeah, man.
Little school brother, go far away on money.
Young Money, man. They in the building.
600 boy, LA, man. LA Capone, man. Get it to him, man. OC2 boys, man. Team
Number 9, man. Number 9 shooter, you hear me?
Hey, bitch, you little bitch. Yeah. What the fuck is wrong with you? Hey, I am Brick Squad. Yeah, Brick Squad, boy. What the fuck is you talking about, bro?
You have to be willing to die or go to jail for 100 years if that's the lane that you're stepping in. You have to understand that whether you 15, 16, you got to think like a man. You know what I'm saying?
So don't be in it. Oh, you're not? Why does everybody say you're only 16 years old?
They say what they want to say.
How old
How old are you?
300.
The story of 800. This is the story of the Gang 800 in Chicago. It's a video I've been asked to do for a long time. Now I think it is a good time to do it as a lot has happened, not least regarding the 800's front figures. I will go through the history of how and why 800 was formed, who are the members, how alliances with different gangs have been started and how they have been destroyed due to 800's thirst for blood. I will also go through all the murders connected to 800 and go into more detail about the history of prominent members such as Lil Fatz, Boss Smooth, Pyro and others. 800 is one of Chicago's most hated gangs, and after watching this video you will probably understand why. I hope you will enjoy the video. We start with some basic facts. 800 is a set of Mickey Cobras whose main block is 61st and Cottage Grove, which borders enemy territories such as Marcus Way and McCreek. 800 has been around since the early 2000s, however they have previously gone by other names such as HollyGrove, who are the older generation of 800. We will go into that in more detail shortly. Today, 800 also goes by other names such as Pyro Way, Frank Block, Diddy Grove and 6100. Like I said earlier, their main block is 61st and Cottage Grove, but their territory spans from 61st to 63rd, Cottage Grove to Drexel. The name 800, which they adopted around the years 2005 to 2007, comes from the street 800 East 61st on South Cottage Grove Avenue. 800 is notoriously famous for having a lot of enemies in Chicago and is also not afraid to stab their allies in the back. That is the reason why they are known as the Backdoor Gang, but also the reason why their relationships with other gangs have changed a lot throughout history. In order for you to understand the history of 800, we have to start with the older generation called HollyGrove, or 800E HollyGrove, who housed in the same territory as today's 800. Some members who belonged to the older generation were high-profile names such as Diddy, Boss Smooth, Snacks and Young Snake. An interesting detail is that Young Snake, who used to rap, later became the manager of Boss Smooth. When it comes to the 800's allies, it's almost easier to mention who they aren't allied with instead. These relationships have also changed a lot over the years, but as it stands right now they are allied with other snakes, Rawtown/Dog Life, Frank Block /8-0, and OTV/DOA. These three are their main allies at the moment. .800 is not a big gang, but despite that, many of their members are infamous and famous, both for their work in the street but also artists that rap. .800 consists of about 30 to 40 members, and about half of them are locked up. Many of you already know these members, but some of you don't. .800 most infamous members when it comes to putting in work in the streets are Lil Fatz, Lil Twin, Lil Twan, DJ, and Pyro. Those of you who have followed the Chicago scene are most likely already familiar with these names. Boss Smooth is .800's most famous members when it comes to rapping. However, they have other members who have dropped songs such as Lil Fatz and Lil Twin, but they are mostly famous for being alleged killers. Now we have come to the first murder of a member from .800 in this story. I am of course referring to the murder of Diddy, who was part of .800, HollyGrove, No Law in Chief Town. This murder took place 12 years ago, on February 24, 2011. Diddy, whose real name was Roselle Phillips, was shot and killed around 9:10 p.m. on that cold late February day 12 years ago. According to police, Diddy was sitting in the driver's seat of a parked vehicle in the 6100 block of South Cottage Grove Avenue when a gunman crept up and shot him several times. Diddy, who was only 25 years of age, was pronounced dead 40 minutes after the shooting at Strawger Hospital of Cook County. There is a reason why this murder occurred. The day before, a member from McCreek, named Vic, had been murdered after getting into a heated argument with a man in the 800 block of East 63rd Street. The man he was arguing with suddenly pulled out his gun and shot the teenager, whose real name was Victor Golden Jr. The killer was actually arrested and charged with the murder, and he was a member of .800/No Law who was called Flying Ryan. It is also rumored that Diddy, who was killed one day later, was present at the scene when the murder went down, and that is the reason why he was murdered the next day by the very same gang, McCreek. By the way, it wasn't even the next day per se, it was the very same night. Flying Ryan eventually beat the case and was killed in April 2017. Diddy was a beloved member. He was from the older generation and was there from the start. Even the younger generations coming up today are still praising him. After his death, HollyGrove adopted the name Diddy Grove, which some of the members still go by to this day. One member who was close with Diddy was Boss Smooth, or J Smooth as he was called back then. Boss Smooth was also part of HollyGrove before .800 became the main thing to claim. In the song Pyro Style Part 2, Boss Smooth rapped, "You disrespect Diddy, you catch 50. You disrespect OleHead, you catch a swallhead." Diddy was also mocked by McCreek, or Vic World, which was the name they adopted. In the song .800 Diddy City Diss, by Vic World CEO, he rapped, "Diddy got slumped in that whip, now he's dead, gone." In another song called Face, by Tom Katoy and Ice Ruga, which was released in 2012, they rapped, "Ask Diddy, he got caught up in that lot, car park, couple shots in his face, now them hitters taking off." Dimb was also mocking him. In Money Man's remix of Finito released in 2015, he rapped, "Facing Diddy to the brain, in traffic switching lanes." Zay Savage from 049 Hit Squad is another rapper who has mocked him. In the song Die Why, which means Die Young Money, he rapped, "I'm Die Wifer and that's for Diddy, F800. Even members from STL and Taekwon World have mocked him. In the song They Wanna Be Us by Lil P, Lucky and G.I. Joe, they rapped, "Saw stripping, blowing Diddy what I be up." There are literally countless examples. Both Lil James and Zero from Tim have mocked him in songs, but also G. Raysky from Geo Drive, Rose from 051 Young Money and Lil Don from Pocket Town. Now we come to the next murder in this story, and it is another murder of a member of HollyGrove/800. The murder I'm referring to is the one at OleHead. As you can hear from the name, this was an older member. He was 33 years at the time when he was shot and killed in early 2012. This particular murder is a very interesting story, and it actually starts already in the year 1990. That year, a man by the name Curtis Davis was convicted of the murder of a man named Harvey Austin. Curtis was sentenced to 40 years in prison but was released in the year 2008 after barely serving half of his sentence. 4 years later, on March 27, 2012, he allegedly killed 3 people: Terry Brown, Julius Benford and OleHead, whose real name was Michael Knowles, who was a father of 2. OleHead, Terry and their other friend Julius were at Terry's home playing video games when Curtis showed up and opened fire, according to authorities and family. OleHead, who seemed to have been the target, was shot 33 times all over the body. He was tragically pronounced dead at the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office Stein Institute. The other 2 were also struck in the hail of gunfire and sadly did not make it either. According to the Chicago Sun-Times, all 3 victims had drug convictions and a large amount of cash was stashed at the home. The motive for the triple murder was unclear, but Terry's family stated the dispute was over a jacket, according to the police report. OleHead's mother, Cynthia Knowles, said the system failed her son, and if they hadn't let Curtis out of jail, we wouldn't be in this situation. Cynthia also stated OleHead was a father of 2. One 14-year-old son and one 10-year-old daughter. He loved spending time with them, she said. OleHead did not have a job at the time he was killed. Apparently he suffered from a bad case of diabetes which left him unable to work. Despite that hardship, her son was happy and lovable, she said, adding that she misses her son's laughter. OleHead is mentioned in several songs. In Boss Smooth's remix of the song How I'm Coming, he rapped, "For OleHead we give out swall heads. Yeah, he survived. He alive, but we left him brain dead." In early 2012, word of 800 began to spread properly in Chicago and the name really began to be established. There was a bit of banter on Twitter between OB600 and 800, not least by King Von from a block who threatened and mocked 800 on multiple occasions. 600 was already into it with 800/No Law since Young Famous from 600, also known as 7, allegedly killed Mojo from 800/No Law in August 2010. In 2013, Boss Smooth uploaded a tweet where he wrote, "I'm on that BDK stuff for Mojo and Fathead, 600K. Boss Smooth also used to mock C-Day on Twitter in 2012. Both went to Kenwood High School, and Smooth wrote that C-Day was a coward and that he never claimed BD a day in his life. Lil Loco from 800 also used to mock 600 for showing disloyalty towards Tricks after he was killed, since 600 stopped claiming him as a member despite hanging with him when he was alive. However, 2 people who actually were cordial with each other were Boss Smooth and King Von from a block, who had been friends since the Kill Award days. There is even a picture of them together from 2010, and both Von confirmed that Smooth had been at his apartment in a block. Von also said they had a lot of memories together, including playing basketball together and seeing an older woman being hit by a car. .800 started getting acknowledged in 2012, mainly by O-Block's top member King Von, who wrote several tweets about them. In August 2012, he wrote, "For my 800 tweet, I'm 800K. A month later he wrote, "Man with the F is 800? Whatever or whoever they are, FM, I'm on that." A few days later he wrote another tweet saying, "I'll go through the whole 800 by myself. I'm about to start F them boys up." Von continued mentioning 800 until he got locked up in late November 2012. In late October he wrote, "I still can't believe they made 800. That's lame, homie." A couple of days later he wrote, "I ain't never blown at 800 because I know that's Smooth's boys in them. But if folks happen to fall back on them or a branch, I'ma give them the D." In a side note before we move on in the story is that sometime during the year 2012 Bike Mike from 800 was shot in the back and that the bullet could not be removed. Later that year, he was shot again in the same place, which resulted in him being paralyzed and is still in a wheelchair today due to his injuries. Those rumored to be behind the first shooting are STL. This was confirmed by FBG Duck in a heated conversation with Boss Smooth on Twitter in 2013. Boss Smooth first wrote to FBG Duck that 800 shot up his crib, made him move and that he was not about that life. Duck responded to this by writing, "Lol, and you really think the ops shot up Big Mike, huh?" Now we come to a gruesome murder in this story, and that is the murder of Fish from McCreek, a 26-year-old young man with disabilities. On September 7, 2013, Fish, whose real name was Alan Ross, was found lifeless in the 5100 block of South Ellsworth Drive, a street that winds through the South Side Park. He was pronounced dead at the scene. However, Fish was not shot to death. The autopsy revealed that he had suffered head injuries from a brutal beatdown. According to rumors, he was not only beaten with hands and feet, he was also hit in the head with a rock, which most likely caused most of the damage. Fish was allegedly beaten to death by 3 or 4 perpetrators, and 2 of them are rumored to be Pyro and Boss Smooth from 800. It is also rumored that this is about a dispute over a few bucks, but I honestly doubt it. 800 and McCreek were sworn enemies at this time, and Fish was seen as a valid target due to his affiliation with McCreek. Fish has been mocked in songs on multiple occasions. In the song 61 Dead Ops by Boss Smooth, he rapped, "We don't do no fighting, end up like Fish." In another song, The Computers remix by Face Gang Chris and Boss Smooth, they rapped, "You try to fight, you're going to end up like Fish." Boss Smooth and other 800 members also used to mock Fish a lot on Twitter back in the days. However, you must not forget that Fish also got a lot of love from friends and family. He was a beloved member in their neighborhood. A little more than 6 months later, a member from 800/HollyGrove was murdered. As you remember, HollyGrove was the older generation of 800. The man, who was called CO but named Corey Brownlee, was shot and killed on April 13, 2014. Corey and a woman in the rear of his home in the 6000 block of South Indiana Avenue when shots were fired in their direction. Corey, who was 32 years old at the time, was hit in the chest and was later taken to John H. Strodger Jr. Hospital of Cook County, where he was pronounced dead. The woman, who was in her mid-20s, was shot in her lower right leg and was taken to Strodger, where she was said to be in stable condition and fortunately survived. It's unknown who killed him. Now, we fast forward a bit in time, from April 2014 to November 2nd, 2014. This brings us to another murder, that of DreMatic, affiliated with McCreek, Vic World, Evans Mob, and Black Gang 79 to 83. DreMatic, whose real name was Andre Johnson Jr., was sitting in the front passenger seat of a parked vehicle on the 1500 block of West 72nd Street when an unknown assailant approached and opened fire. Tragically, Dre was shot in the head and pronounced dead at the scene. As you might have guessed, 800 was behind this murder, and the suspected killer is allegedly Snacks from 800, a highly respected OG within the set. Boss Smooth even gave him a shout out in a song, rapping, "We be some maniacs, free Snacks," he invented that. By this, Smooth means that Snacks coined the term Maniac Cobras, which became an alternative name for Mickey Cobras. Because 800 operates differently, essentially as renegades, they adopted the term Maniac Cobras after Snacks introduced it. DreMatic was a deeply respected and beloved member of McCreek, making his murder a significant loss for the group and a major hit for 800. He was also very close to Vic from McCreek, who was killed in late February 2011, allegedly by Flying Ryan from No Law/800, which we talked about earlier. Now, moving into 2015, 800 had firmly established itself as a legitimate and formidable set. However, they had few allies and were at odds with nearly the entire city. That year, tensions escalated particularly with Tim, leading to frequent clashes. Tim began targeting 800, with Drilly and others shooting up their block. There are also rumors that Abo from 800 killed Kessie from Timber around this time, and Drilly later claimed that somebody went to sleep for Kessie. At the time, one of 800's few allies was 051 Young Money, aside from a few smaller cliques in the city. However, by late 2017, even that alliance began to fade, and 800 found itself increasingly isolated. Now 800 openly beef with 051 and Fatz used to mock Melly in his songs. 800 was also very good at starting new beefs, even at times when they had nearly every South Side set after them. Despite being surrounded by enemies, 800 had surprisingly few losses. There were also a lot of other shootings during this time. For example, 10 from 800 shot Michi from McCreek in the neck and ended up getting snitched on by Michi and received a 15-year sentence. 10 was released in April 2022. By 2015, a new wave of young members was emerging, ready to make their mark on the streets. One of them was Fatz from 800, a name that would go down in history as one of Chicago's most reckless gang members. With multiple bodies to his name, he is now incarcerated, awaiting sentencing for a crime of sheer madness. By 2015, despite being only 14 or 15 years old, Fatz was already making a serious name for himself on the streets. In mid-December 2015, Fatz allegedly shot a boy named Neko Schaffer, also known as Neko from YKN078. He was reportedly shot in the head and rushed to the hospital, where he fell into a coma. After fighting for his life for nearly 3 years, Neko tragically succumbed to his injuries on August 4, 2018. The shooting occurred in Met Boys Hood on 52nd and Calumet, and Neko himself was only 15 years of age when it happened and passed away at the age of 18. Fatz was actually arrested in 2015 as a juvenile, but the charges were dropped due to lack of evidence, and Fatz was out again on the streets in no time. Despite the fact that Neko died 3 years later, many consider this to be Fatz's first body under his belt. Why Fatz shot him is unknown. It may have been about something personal. However, it is known that 800 were close with New Money 80/Kang Gang, who are enemies to YKN078. In January 2015, shortly after Fatz allegedly shot Neko, Abo from 800 was sentenced to 13 years in prison for shooting Lucky Steele from STL/EBT. Lucky reportedly testified against Abo, a claim that 800 has confirmed. After serving his time, Abo was released on parole in late August 2024 and will remain on parole until 2027. Fatz from 800 rapped about this situation in the song, Smooth Style, where he rapped, "Lucky told on my main mads, but STL, they still his friend, on Mick." What he actually means by this is pretty unknown, because 800 is not cool with STL, nor Jaro, or Taekwon World. A few months later, in late May 2016, 800 lost one of its most prominent members, Pyro, the man who, along with Boss Smooth from 800, had beaten Fish from McCreek to death in September 2013 over a dispute involving a small sum of money. Pyro, whose real name was Kevin Larry, was found unresponsive near 56th and Wabash at around 7:30 a.m. According to Chicago police and the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office, he was pronounced dead at the scene at the age of 22 from a gunshot wound to the torso. Doma from Mob, whose real name is Dominic Greer, was arrested, charged, and sentenced to 50 years in prison for the murder. The circumstances surrounding his arrest were quite unusual. On the same day, Doma held a press conference to announce a lawsuit seeking $15 million from the city, alleging a Chicago police officer had wrongfully shot him 7 times. While waiting for a ride after the conference, Doma was arrested on a murder warrant. "I had no clue," said his lawyer, Eugene Hollander, who hosted the conference at his loop office. "It's definitely a surprise to me." He was going to grab an Uber back home, and as he was waiting, a squad car pulled up. Domo, a convicted felon, was arrested on a warrant for the May 27th shooting death of 22-year-old Kevin Larry. The warrant had been issued on May 29th. We became aware he was holding a press conference for a civil suit against the police department, and the police department doesn't wait to apprehend people accused of murder, said Anthony Guglielmi, the department's chief spokesman. "I've seen the footage of Doma being shot from behind while running from the police, and it honestly seems like the police's actions were questionable." So, why did Domo murder Pyro from 800? According to authorities, Domo, 26, was involved in a dice game with Pyro, and they got into an argument over money before the shooting. After the killing, the police issued an officer safety alert regarding Domo. The alert, which also mentioned his alias Domo, stated that witnesses overheard him saying he would not be taken alive. It warned that he should be considered armed and dangerous. Authorities expected Domo to be charged with murder within 48 hours after Cook County prosecutors re-interviewed witnesses to the shooting. During a press conference, Domo explained that he had obtained a gun illegally to protect himself after the fatal shooting of his close friend, Brian Weekly, also known as Scrap from Mob, on June 7, 2014, in the 5600 block of South Wabash, the same block where Pyro was killed. Domo claimed he was carrying the same gun on July 4, 2014, when Chicago police officers chased him. He said he threw the gun away before an officer shot him 7 times. To support his story, Domo showed surveillance footage to reporters, claiming it proved he was shot multiple times while attempting to flee and was shot again while on the ground. Domo, who insisted he wasn't in a gang, argued that the police should have done their job and chased him down instead of opening fire. They should have done their job and tried to catch me instead of shooting me. If I ain't never bring no harm to you, why would you bring harm to me? He said, just hours after his attorney filed a lawsuit against the city and 2 police officers. Now, we move ahead to late September 2017. On September 25th, GeoDrive/Mob lost a member named Lil Mike. By the way, this Lil Mike should not be confused with the Lil Mike from Mob who was killed 2 months earlier and was the brother of Ruga from Mob. Lil Mike from GeoDrive/Mob was shot and killed in an alley on the 6400 block of South Langley Avenue. Lil Mike had been at a party, reportedly hosted by Pocket Town, and was walking home alone. He was close with Lil Sean from Mob and had a solid relationship with Pocket Town, which is why he attended the party. At 9:47 p.m., officers responded to a call of shots fired in the 6400 block of South Langley. They found 16-year-old Lil Mike in an alley, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds to his head and body, according to Chicago police and the Cook County Medical Examiner's office. Lil Mike was allegedly killed by 800, more specifically, Fatz, Maine and Lil Twin. Fatz was only 16 years old at the time and Lil Twin was only 14 years old. Twin was actually arrested and charged with the murder, but the charges were later dropped due to lack of evidence. Lil Mike was the brother of Lil Art from Pocket Town, one of their top shooters. This incident played a major role in escalating the beef between Pocket Town and 800, alongside the fact that in 2021, Sko from 800 took a gun from a Pocket Town member after that member stole $150 from him. Wop and Lil Don ran into each other in the county, and Wop told Lil Don they would return the gun because what Sko did was wrong. He explained that since they share the same enemies from Mac Creek, they shouldn't be beefing. Wop also mentioned that Sko couldn't come back to the block after that incident. However, for some reason, the gun was never returned. Lil Fatz then joined the conversation and mentioned that multiple people from Pocket Town had been shot after the incident. Lil Don responded by claiming that after he was released from jail in 2019, Lil Fatz got caught sliding on Pocket Town and was shot, with his gun still on him. Lil Fatz then claimed that the following day, he shot a G Wooski from Pocket Town at a bus stop. He followed up by asking Lil Don how many funerals he's caused, raising 5 fingers, hinting at his own body count. Lil Don replied that he couldn't talk about bodies with him because he could go toe-to-toe if needed. This was a brief summary of the exchange, which mainly consisted of a lot of back and forth boasting. The beef between Pocket Town and 800 is still somewhat ongoing. In early January 2021, 800 mocked Lil Glizzy/Lil Ad after he was killed out of town. Another detail from the Igliv is that it ends with them planning a shootout on 82nd and Maryland, and a shooting did indeed occur a few blocks away minutes later. However, it seems like the tension has died down somewhat since both Lil Fatz and Lil Twan were locked up, and it's likely they'll never experience the free world again. However, all of this happened much later than where we are right now in the story in this video. We will get back to that later.
Hey, folks, who got stuff for that? Name dropping right now, folks. Name dropping right now. We gonna go toe to toe. Name dropping right now. I'm gonna tell you who I give a fuck about.
It don't matter who y'all give a fuck about.
Exactly, nigga. If you can't talk, nigga. Hey, I'm telling you, folks.
I got Lil Mike on his face or his neck or whatever. Okay. E Glizzy got popped. Motherfuckers' family members got shot in their stomach and had to abort their baby, all type of shit. Who else? The nigga Fat Marcus.
So, okay, look, Fatz, you said all that. How many people count?
Okay, okay,
Next, we turn to another murder allegedly carried out by 800, the murder of DJ from Taekwon World / HollyGrove. On August 6, 2018, DJ was standing at a bus stop around 11:15 a.m. on the 9100 block of South Cottage Grove when he was shot in the neck. He was rushed to the University of Chicago Medical Center, where he was pronounced dead, according to police. Which members from 800 were behind the murder is unknown. There are several rumors about who killed him, but the members who have been pointed out through speculation are Lil Fatz and Lil Twin from 800. DJ has been disrespected in several songs by 800 members. For example, in the track 61 Dead Ops, Boss Smooth rapped, "DJ got hit at the bus and you all still ain't did nothing to us," and also, "We spinning you like a DJ." In another song, he rapped, "DJ got whacked, they done forgot." Lil Twin's song F Go includes the line, "DJ got whacked, they done forgot." Additionally, in one of Lil Fatz's tracks, he rapped, "That switch hit DJ face." Overall, DJ was heavily mocked by 800. Three months after this murder, Wooski's funeral was shot up. Amid the chaos, a ricochet hit Wooski in the head, allegedly from one of their own firing back, possibly 10 milli from mob. Wooski survived the incident. There is controversy surrounding who was responsible for the shooting, with both 800 and O-Block claiming it online and in songs, particularly King Von. The only solid evidence is that King Von was questioned about the shooting during an arrest, and police also suspected O-Block. Personally, I believe O-Block members were behind it, with DQ from O-Block being the most frequently mentioned name in connection to the shooting. 2 hours before the funeral, Edog from O-Block tweeted, "Get back gang gone, get rid of him." However, many people are convinced that 800 was responsible, and it could be true, especially given how much they claim it in their songs. For example, they've rapped lines like, "If there's a crowd bring 100 out, chopper shells gun put him down, Wooski headshot that wasn't enough they still ain't trying to get back at us. Yeah he's alive he survived but we left him brain dead, and plus Wooski got his head splack, why still ain't get his lick back." In 2019, things took a darker turn for 800, especially for Lil Fatz, who, along with other members, really began to spiral out of control. Lil Fatz racked up body after body, not just taking out members, but also innocent people. On April 14, 2019, Fatz allegedly killed Yum/Tarzan, an innocent girl who was the sister of Montana from 051YM. 800 had tried to kill Montana, catching him lacking but missing the shot. Montana went to grab his gun to retaliate, but instead, 800 ended up killing his sister. In August 2019, there were rumors that Lil Twin from 800 killed Carter from Sunnyside. Then, in September 2019, it was rumored that Fatz killed Hollywood from Stony Spot after chasing him into an alley and shooting him in the head. A few months later, in early January 2020, it was rumored that Fatz and Lil Twin killed Curry from MTG during a gun deal that went wrong, though some say they went there specifically to kill him. What's strange is that it seems like 800 thrived off starting new wars and living up to the snake reputation, embracing the role of hardcore cobras and backdooring people, as they did with Curry. For years, nobody took 800 seriously. They were mocked for being a knockoff of 300-600, seen as not really being like that. But they were determined to prove a point. 3 months after allegedly backdooring Curry, in March 2020, DJ from 800 and Lil Fatz were rumored to have killed Bando Hothead from Face World 069. This was allegedly another gun trade gone wrong, where 800 is said to have snaked the other party. After Lil Fatz and Lil Twin had been spazzing out on their ops and friends, 800 had made a lot of enemies, and on September 7, 2020, 800 would lose a member called Franko. Franko, 18, was killed in a drive-by while standing on the street in the 8000 block of South Manistee Avenue around noon when someone in a passing car fired shots. The block he was standing on is territory belonging to KTS/Lakeside. Franko also claimed Sosa Gang, a gang that houses on 67th in Paxton. They got their name after Sosa from OTG was killed in August 2018. Frank Block was created in Franko's honor, but it doesn't exist anymore. When they existed, it consisted of members from Sosa Gang and 800. Franko was allegedly killed by Lil Crew and Clay from Matre Mob. A few months later, in April 2021, 800 retaliated when Lil Crew was killed in what was believed to be revenge, allegedly by Lil Twin from 800. Exactly 1 month later, 800 suffered another loss. This time it was their most famous member, the rapper, and alleged killer, Boss Smooth. Boss Smooth was killed at the Shell gas station on the 8600 block of South State in the Chatham neighborhood. Smooth and his driver, Lil Prince from 800, were likely stopping for gas when a vehicle pulled up and unleashed around 30 shots from a Draco. Tragically, Smooth was struck in the head and killed. It was a reckless hit, according to a Chicago resident who made a YouTube video about Smooth. They were across the street when the shooting happened and stated that police arrived just as the suspects were fleeing. It's unclear if officers initiated a chase, but the getaway car managed to escape onto the E-way, and the shooters were never caught. So, who was responsible for Boss Smooth's murder? The day after he was killed, several sets, including McCreek, Tim, Murda Town, Face World, and Taekwon World, posted pictures of their fallen members, leading to speculation that one of them was behind the hit. This theory gained even more traction when Timo dissed Smooth directly, saying, "F you, Boss Smooth." A photo later surfaced showing Face World 069 members in a trap house with F Boss Smooth spray painted on the wall, fueling rumors that his murder was retaliation for band OleHead. Face World members also mocked him in songs, with KC Money rapping, "When Smooth got caught, he got left in his seat." Reddit and other internet forums became convinced that Face World had avenged Bando's death. However, the truth didn't come out until August 2021. During an Instagram Live, KC Money from Face World was talking with Lil Twin from 800, who was visibly frustrated that Face World kept claiming a body they didn't catch. Twin repeatedly stated that Face World wasn't responsible, while KC Money continued casually dissing, saying, "Ya homie blowing Smooth right now." Finally, KC asked, "Then who did it?" That's when Twin swore on his dead homie Pyro that Mix Mob was behind the hit. Mix Mob members were even in the comments, alongside 800 and Face World, taunting Casey with remarks like he exposed now. One Mix Mob member even commented, "Y'all ain't do that to Smooth." Shortly after, Lou Glocks from Mix Mob responded to the situation with an egg post that read, "Y'all the police on Deshaun," which pretty much confirmed their involvement since they weren't denying it. The members allegedly responsible for the hit were Savage and Frito from Mix Mob. This was a huge loss for 800, and after this, the house of cards basically fell apart.
Bro, you watch me every day, bro. Look, I'm saying, look, can y'all not mention Smooth if y'all ain't do that? What? Can y'all not mention Smooth if y'all ain't do that, bro? Bro, you know if I did that to Smooth, bro. I ain't finna keep repeating myself, bro. You said bro did that to Smooth. You know who did that to Smooth, bro. Nah, Face for real. Get the fuck out of my lap, bro. In yourself. Hey, I ain't gonna lie to you. Look, hey. Hey, this nigga cap. In yourself, bro. So this what you finna do on live? I ain't finna do shit, bro. I'm chilling, bro. I'm seeing on Pyro Mix Mob kill Smooth, nigga, on Diddy. You or Face ain't have shit to do with that on Pyro. So who killed Smooth? Why you want to talk about dead bodies on here, bro? Yeah, I know, cause you cap. You know y'all ain't do that shit. Yo, hey, you can have this internet. Why you want to talk about dead bodies, bro? On Pyro, how he died. Hey, look, hey, check this out, bro. You want my number, bro? Look, man, send it through, cause I link for real. My number, bro. You can link up all that shit, bro. Y'all ass capping, bro. Send your number, then I link for real. I really do that. 800 known for linking. 800 known for linking. You know we were just close to you, bro.
Despite everything falling apart, 800 still had a few shooters left with motivation. In December 2020, rumors spread that Lil Fatz allegedly backdoored and killed Spice from Snake Pit/Dresky Way. At the time, 800 suspected Snake Pit had a role in Boss Smooth's death, which created tension between the two sets. However, I don't believe 800 was responsible for Spice's murder. Snake Pit members even stated that they had squashed their beef with 800, something that likely wouldn't have happened if 800 had been behind the killing. WAP from 800 also paid homage to Spice after his passing, further casting doubt on the rumor. 2 months later, in February 2021, 800 allegedly caught a body on Marcus Way when Truey from 800 allegedly killed Young Jay from Marcus Way on February 8. 19-year-old Young Jay, whose real name was Jeremiah Irvin, was shot and killed in the 6200 block of South Cottage Grove. 800 mocked him heavily after the murder. Young Jay was shot in the head, while 2 of his friends were also wounded but managed to survive. Incredibly, one of them, Leak from Marcus Way, was also struck in the head yet still pulled through. The boy who was shot in the leg was Maine from Marcus Way, who is an ex-800 member and wrote on the Lil Mike hit together with 800 as mentioned earlier. Now we have come to the event that really destroyed the entire 800 and that removed 2 of their absolute top members from the street, Lil Fatz and Lil Twan from 800. There are no words to fully capture what they did. They crashed out, taking 3 lives in the process. This incident took place on November 11, 2021, beginning inside an apartment on the 8700 block of South Saginaw Avenue. Inside were Lil Fatz, Lil Twan, and several others who would later testify. That morning, a witness overheard Fatz saying he had a lick lined up to hit an ATM and that it needed to happen that day. Shortly after, Spook and Doovie 4 from Face World 079/Nusky Gang, who police identified as accomplices in the scheme, allegedly stole a dark-colored Lincoln to use as a getaway vehicle. The group then drove to a Bank of America in the 200 block of West 83rd Street, parking nearby as an armored truck carrying LaShonda Harts and 2 other guards arrived. LaShonda and another guard proceeded to open 2 ATMs, removing cash containers and transferring their contents into the truck. They then refilled the machines with an estimated $50,000 to $80,000, according to police. As one of the male guards carried the cash containers back to the ATMs, Lil Fatz and Lil Twan allegedly emerged, pointing their guns at the guards and demanding the money. A struggle ensued, and Fatz, Twan, and an alleged accomplice, possibly Spook, opened fire. During the gunfire, LaShonda was struck 3 times, once in the chest, once in the abdomen, and a graze wound to her chest. Tragically, she later succumbed to her injuries at the hospital. Another guard was also shot in the chest but survived. Despite their violent attempt, Fatz, Twan, and their co-offenders were unable to take either of the cash containers and fled the scene. Shortly after, Fatz and Twan allegedly carried out another robbery at a Boost Mobile store in the 6700 block of South Stony Island Avenue just before 11 a.m., stealing cash and phones. Later, they regrouped with Spook and Doovie on South Saginaw, where all 4 entered another vehicle. What happened next was even more shocking. Police stated that Fatz and Twan, for lack of a better term, executed Spook and Doovie from Face World 079 inside the vehicle, turning on their own accomplices. Doovie was shot once in the back of his neck, while Spook was shot 7 times. Both were pronounced dead on the scene. Fatz and Twan then returned to the home they had left earlier that morning. A witness later told police they overheard a discussion about hiding multiple firearms. At one point, Fatz instructed someone in the house to call 911 and report that a person had been killed outside. When officers arrived, they discovered multiple boxes of Boost mobile phones inside a vehicle. A search of the home led to the recovery of a rifle and 4 handguns. Forensic analysis later confirmed that shell casings found at the Bank of America crime scene matched at least one of those weapons. Fatz and Twan were subsequently arrested and charged with multiple felonies, including multiple counts of first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, and attempted armed robbery. Prosecutors described their actions as something straight out of a Hollywood movie. I know this is a complicated fact pattern, Assistant State's Attorney James Murphy stated. But in looking at the facts as alleged by the state, it's as if these 2 defendants tried to copy every armed robbery movie out there, right down to the double cross. Both Fatz and Twan are still awaiting trial and sentencing. Meanwhile, the case has been plagued by heavy snitching, particularly from Lil Fatz, who allegedly told police that Twan and Spook were responsible for killing the security guard. After this, 800 was significantly weakened, with most of their members either incarcerated or deceased. However, we now reach the final chapter in this story, the murder of DJ from 800, who was killed on July 11, 2024. The shooting occurred on the I-94 Dan Ryan Expressway, between 79th and 83rd Streets. TJ was in a car with Lil Mike from 650 when their vehicle was shot at. This happened right after DJ ended his live stream on Instagram. The shooting caused them to lose control over the car, and shortly after the crash, TJ was pronounced dead at the hospital. Lil Mike fled the scene but was later captured for questioning. There's a rumor that Kane from MCB killed TJ in retaliation for DJ stealing his gun while Kane was asleep on July 10th, the day before the murder. Allegedly, Kane took action within 24 hours of the theft. Kane was close friends with Lil Mike from 650, who was with DJ in the car, which explains why TJ was around him. DJ was a well-known member of 800, recognized for his role as a shooter, killer, and internet troll. He had also been featured in interviews and had released a few songs. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. I really appreciate all your support. May God bless you all. Hosanna in Chelsea's.